Good morning from Jonesboro, Arkansas. I was supposed to be in Katy, Texas right now, but I'm not. It is 8:38 a.m. the 18th of June 2025. And one of the most disappointing parts of me having to turn around on this trip and come home is when I crossed the state line, I didn't get to say what I always say every time I cross the Texas state line. I always say, "You all can go to hell. I'm going to Texas," which is what Davy Crockett said when he was beat, when he lost the election for the state legislature. He was in the Tennessee state legislature. He didn't get reelected, and a lot of the people in that body did not like him. They fought against his election. So he, excuse me, he was giving a speech on the floor of the House, I think it was. Might have been a campaign speech, but I think he was talking to his colleagues. That's what he said. "You all can go to hell. I'm going to Texas." And he did, and we know what happened. Poor Davy Crockett. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you a few minutes before this video starts. I'm going to say first, and I think I can say this because y'all don't know who she is. If y'all knew her, I wouldn't dare say it. I had to turn around because she had to go to the hospital. My aunt, my elderly aunt, she was having kidney stones. And they're going to take them out today. And even though I was on the other side of Little Rock, I went up driving 330 miles or so for pretty much nothing. I turned around and came home because I didn't know what was going to happen there. Didn't know if they're going to put her in the hospital or what. But anyway, they're taking her out today. She should be fine. But I sent her a text before I left, but I didn't want to call and wake her up. By the time I figured she has to be awake by now, and I called, she said she's on her way to the hospital. Anyway, so good. I'm glad she's going to be okay. But anyway, I learned something about this car. You know, of course, I do not like leather seats at all. I hate leather seats. I don't hate them. I dislike them. I prefer cloth all day long. I'm shocked that so many people love leather seats, even though it's fake leather these days. It's not real. But anyway, even though I was comfortable in the car, and to prove that, I kept going from 68 to 70 on the HVAC, then 68, then 70, then 68, then 70. I would never have turned it up if I was hot. But my back was just sweating once the temperature started rising. And I was missing the Kia Niro's ventilated seats, cooled seats, whatever you want to call them. It's yeah, it was very, I did not like that. It was very irritating. I contacted somebody that knows a lot about Tesla. I said, if I put sunshades in, will that help? Is there anything I can do to keep my back from sweating? And he said, matter-of-factly, nope, there's nothing you can do. He said the newer models have ventilated seats, which I knew that. And this is a guy that knows a whole lot about Teslas. So anyway, I don't know if the sunshade would have helped much. On the internet, somebody said, if you cool the car down before you get in it, it'll be a non-issue. That wasn't the case for me. When I was charging the second time, the car never shut off. It was cooling down. And from that on the way home, my back was really, really sweating. Leather seats suck. But anyway, I wish, man, ay. But the car did very well, and the full self-driving is incredible. I can't imagine giving up full self-driving ever again. I can't imagine going to anything that doesn't have full self-driving. It's just so phenomenal on trips. So phenomenal. Like you'll see in the video, at one point, I wasn't even paying attention to Little Rock where I was. And all of a sudden the car veered to the right-hand lane, then veered off into the exit to get on a different highway. I thought, oh, it's time for us to exit. I had no idea. The car knew, but I didn't. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the car. The full self-driving is incredible. Love it. And this is version 12 point something, not 13. Hardware 3, not hardware 4. Hardware 4 is supposed to be even better than this. And this is pretty darn good. Alright, let's get on to the video. Good morning from Jonesboro, Arkansas, 7:06 a.m. It is June 17th, 2025, heading off to Katy, Texas. It's going to be a long day. About 540, 550 miles, I don't know. Quite a ways. Let's look at the navigation and see. I don't know what it even tells us, but Right here is all of our turns, and Little Rock, we're going to charge there for 5 minutes. I'm hoping I can skip it and get to Hope without stopping in Little Rock, because this is a 150 kilowatt charger. That's pretty slow for Tesla. This car will accept 250 if the charge is low enough. Then Hope, Carthage, Texas, and Livingston, Texas, getting to our destination with 10% battery. And this is 5, 19, 31, 40 minutes of charging, it says. 40 minutes. When we went in the Nero, it was 2 hours. Get up. I don't want this. I want this shrunk. How do you do that? There we go. So anyway, all right, here we go. Ugh. I forgot to mention, the range said something like 312 miles on 100% battery. Yes, I charged to 100%. And of course the EPA estimate is 353, but everybody knows Tesla, they don't ever get what they're supposed to get. Maybe driving in perfect conditions 45 miles an hour, I don't know. You know, so it just doesn't happen. Whereas most electric cars, they seem to undershoot it. The Kia Niro said 239 EPA. It was way too low. You could get 220 probably, or at least 210 going 70, 75 miles an hour. Anyway, I've got to stop at the ATM. Anyway, I've got to stop at the ATM because I have $4 in straight up cash on me, and that's not going to do. I don't like traveling with no money. I have a friend I used to work with. Let's call him William. Him and his wife and his 3 daughters went all the way to Central Florida, probably 1,200 miles one way, without any money whatsoever. All the time he was nuts. He got there and there was a toll road that was cash only. They had to scrounge in the bottom of her purse and whatnot to come up with change. I would never do that. I guess that's what these young whippersnappers do today. Travel with no money. Not me. So I'm getting $100. Okay, now that that's taken care of, full self-driving. Let's see if this helps us out today. Helps me out. I don't know why I said us. I guess because I'm talking to you and I'm thinking of you and me, us. 50 miles into the trip, and 267.1 miles per kilowatt hour. I mean watt hours per mile. 250 would be 4.0 miles per kilowatt hour. That's what most people use. Tesla has their own thing. But anyway, it's been uneventful. The full self-driving does get to the left-hand lane if there's a car on the shoulder. Usually. I took over once because it was switching from the left to the right. It just passed somebody. I guess it didn't see the car 50 feet ahead on the shoulder. So I took over. You know, this is full self-driving supervised. I took over, so stay in that lane. It yelled at me once for looking at the screen too much. If it yells at you too many times, it'll lock you out of full self-driving for a while, and I don't know how long that is. I don't want to take the chance. So the next time I need to look at the screen, I just shut full self-driving off and drove myself. I was looking to see if I could skip this next charging station at Little Rock. I was hoping I could. I'm almost certain I could skip that station if I wanted to. Almost certain. But I'm scared like a little girl. It's a 5-minute stop right now in Little Rock. The problem is it's in an outlet mall. It's not the best place to stop, in my opinion, when traveling, unless you want to go shopping, because there's not going to be a convenient place to use the restroom looking at the parking lot. So, and it's only 5 minutes. The next stop is Hope, Arkansas. Birthplace of Bill Clinton. I'm a little bit thirsty, so I can't do my Bill Clinton voice. I need to get a drink of water. But anyway, during that construction zone, I told it to slow down, and I forgot I did that, so I need to speed back up. So anyway, I know out of spec, especially out of spec Dave, they would skip that Little Rock station. You know, him and his wife, if you watch Out of Spec Dave, that's my favorite Out of Spec channel. It's the only one I actually subscribe to. I like watching him and his wife on road trips. Because, yeah, he's like, here's what he is. I can't remember remember her name at the moment. I know it, but I can't think of it. Let me get past this truck so it won't be so loud. Here's them in a situation. They're traveling. The Tesla navigation says to stop at a certain place for 5 minutes. And if they don't stop, the next destination, they're going to get there with, say, 0% left. They'll say arrival 0%. And Dave will be like, I know it says 0%, but I don't believe it. I think we'll get there with 1 or 2%, which will be fine. And the wife is like, just do what it says. Just do what the navigation says. Why do you want to skip a 5-minute stop and have me getting stressed out for an hour if we're going to make it or not, when 5 minutes and that stress is gone? And then he's like, because I'm telling you, it's not true. It says 0%, we can get there with 1%.
I learned something. Don't record me talking while driving down the highway at high speeds with the GoPro. The road noise is just way too loud, gets picked up way too easily on the camera. So I'm going to dub this next part and the rest of it, I guess. So I'll just place it over the video the best I can. Trying to recreate what I said best I can, word for word. You know, there are other places for me to charge in Little Rock besides the Tesla Supercharger. I could stop at Pilot, which would be a much nicer stop. Also, I have the CCS adapter, but I have a hard time releasing it from the cord. The one time I used it, I was able to disconnect the adapter, but it was not easy. The reason is because the lady that ran the stop sign and hit me on my motorcycle took my leg, but also destroyed my left wrist and right thumb. Therefore, I have the hand strength of about a 12 or 14-year-old girl. A 12 or 14-year-old girl would have a hard time disconnecting the adapter. Not to mention the cords are a lot heavier than the supercharger cords. I have a hard time even handling the cords at the CCS chargers because once again, a 12 to 14-year-old girl would have a hard time handling those cords. They could do it. It's not like they couldn't. But they'd be grunting and groaning for sure. Like that. So, yeah, Tesla without a doubt is the best place for me to stop.
Okay, so it's roughly 145 miles to Hope, according to my Google Maps. I don't know how to look on this because I don't know how to delete this right here. See, because it tells you how many miles to Little Rock. So 145, 184, that's a 40-mile buffer. I could make it. I know I could. But I'm like a little sissy girl. I'm scared to try. So I guess I'll stop in Little Rock. I did stop and use the restroom though. You know, I definitely could have waited if they would have had a proper bathroom. But I don't think that's going to be that type of a stop. I'll see when I get there. Then I'll know next time. And look at this. This is cool. It shows how many chargers excuse me, are available at the moment. 7. If you scroll down to the next stop in Hope, it shows 14 are available right there. See, so anyway. Oh, come on, you stupid. I'm trying to get rid of this. What in the world? I don't know. Normally it just slides over. I'll figure it out. Almost to the supercharger station. But I probably didn't need to stop at. If this car knows where it's going, I have no idea. I hope it knows. And I'm anxious to see if it takes me right to the stations or if it just gets me in the parking lot and says, here we are. Outlets of Little Rock. Dave & Buster's. I've never been to one. But a lot of people like it. It's supposed to be a third of a mile around here somewhere. I have no idea where these chargers are. They're just somewhere on the property. Maybe the car knows. Aha! Right there. That's kind of cool that it took me right there. And it's a Tesla leaving. Okay, 130 miles. We could have so made it to Hope, Arkansas so easily. Let's see. Look how fast. 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. Hey, how come you're blue? Why aren't you charging? It should have already turned green by now. There it goes. Well, maybe. I think that's some type of a fault. Yeah, it's not working, so I'm gonna have to pull it to another one. Wait, yeah it is. Yeah, it's working. 583 miles per hour. So we'll get 144 kilowatts, 582 miles per hour. Right now it shows we'd get to Hope with 3% left. We could have done that. I was talking to a new Tesla owner the other day, and they said when I plugged up to the supercharger, I was shocked. We were getting, they said something like 300 or 400 miles an hour. I said you can get close to 1,000 if the battery is low enough.
How are you today?
Good, sir. You have enough energy to continue your trip. I think at some point I set this up to where I always wanted to get there with 10%. Probably why it wanted me to stop here. But as you see here, there's no place really to use the restroom, no convenient place. I mean, these are the type of stores you don't normally go in and say, where's your restroom? Maybe a public restroom up there somewhere, outdoor, but I don't know. But unless you're gonna do some shopping, I would bypass this if I could. All right, so could have made it to Hope. I for sure can now. Get there 15% left. All right, you have a good day. Oh, wait a minute, this video isn't over. Okay. I gotta hop back there like a rabbit and unplug. I don't know how much energy I just got, but I'll put the stats right here. But now we're gonna get there at 17% left. Stayed here too long because I was talking to that guy from Jonesboro. Alright.
Well, I guess I'm going to turn around and go home. You see how this screen is blue? It's the screen's way of yelling at me. I guess it don't like me reaching for the camera. I sent my aunt a text when I left this morning. I guess she didn't check her text today. I called her after leaving Little Rock, and she says she's on her way to the hospital because she has a kidney stone. She didn't think to let me know she was in pain so I wouldn't make the trip, because the plan was for me to make this trip today, tomorrow, or July. I didn't know I was going for sure till this morning. I think I'm just going to turn around and go home. Yeah, I'm roughly 25 or 30% of the way there, but I'm just going to go back to the same supercharger I just left and spend 7 minutes to get enough energy to make it home.
Okay, so again, I'm on my way home. My poor aunt, she's probably late 70s, maybe 80. She has a kidney stone. She's on her way to the hospital. Not sure, what they're going to do. Probably give her some medicine, but it was not a good time for a visit. She sounded like she was in a lot of pain. So I'm heading home. It says right here, negative 10%. So I do not have enough energy to get home. So I've got to charge here for 7 minutes, it says. And so anyway, that was a long drive for nothing. I was probably 27, 28% of the way there. But that's fine. I mean, I wasted a few hours. But anyway, I don't know. I came to Little Rock for nothing. But so what? I mean, That's better than having a kidney stone. I mean, she's going through a whole lot of pain. So, I'm not about to feel sorry for myself for making this drive and having to turn around and go home. I'm feeling more sorry for her. Jeez. But anyway, we'll juice up here and go home. Okay, 615 miles. It was 640 something when I reached for the camera. 600 miles an hour. I've already added 20 miles. I've been here an old time and I added 20 miles, and these are slow chargers. They are. You know, that Model S, I love the Model S, but they're so expensive. I love the looks. It's more room. It's probably more comfortable, but I paid $26,000 for this 2021 model with 24,000 miles and full self-driving. Even though I think it'd been about the same price without it. Even though it's worth more if you have full self-driving. According to KBB, I can't remember, but about $3,000. But I don't think Carvana has enough sense to add extra if it has full self-driving, if you get what I'm getting at. 2021 model, full self-driving, so I'll pay for this, 24,000 miles, 23 and some change, 26,000. To get a Model S for 26,000 instead of a 2021, it probably would have been a 2017. Instead of 23,000 miles, it probably would have had 70 or 80,000 miles and no full self-driving. So, no, they're just too expensive. Minus 2%, already got 31 miles. And again, 131 kilowatts. Newer chargers max out at 250. I think the newest max out at 350, although don't quote me on that. But it depends on how full your battery is. I mean, we're at 49%. And right now, negative 1% to get, okay, now 0% to get home. I would expect Dave would be like, I can make it, I'm gonna unplug. But now I'm gonna stay here a little bit longer. Just a few minutes, not very long. And I'm about to starve, because I don't eat much when I travel. I try not to drink much either. Thirsty and I'm hungry. You know, I was just a few miles from Hope, Arkansas. Birthplace of Bill Clinton, William Jefferson Clinton. 40, I don't remember what number, but President of the United States. Okay, you get home with 5% left. I ought to just unplug right now. I'm going to put the stats to this charge on the screen somewhere right about now, maybe a few seconds from now. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Okay, one thing I love about full self-driving is I don't have to worry about taking the wrong exit. I know what you're thinking. GPS will tell you when to turn. You don't need full self-driving for that. Believe me, I'm so dumb. I sometimes screw that up. It's been known to happen. If the GPS tells me to take an exit, but there are two exits side by side, I'm going to take the wrong one. It's a very good possibility. I have been known to screw that up. And when I do, if Pam is with me, if my wife is with me, she worries about my soul by the time I get done with a few choice words, knowing I'm going the wrong way when I should be going the other way. Full self-driving means if she's with me, she no longer has to worry about my soul. That's worth something, right? A few miles ago, I had no idea it was time to exit. I wasn't thinking about what highway I was on, where the exit was, how far the exit was away from me, or any of that. I was paying attention to the cars around me, and I was paying attention to what the Tesla was doing, but I was not paying attention to my location. I had no idea where I was. Then all of a sudden, the car goes to the right-hand lane, it signals and goes to the right-hand lane and takes an exit all on its own. That was awesome! I'm going to take over driving now until I put this camera down so the car will stop yelling at me. If I had better mounting hardware, I wouldn't have to worry about that, right? The full self-driving has made this such a better trip. It's simply easy, and I don't have to make macro adjustments when traveling down the highway or even worry about changing lanes. The car does it for me. If the original owner of this car had not paid for full self-driving when he bought it new, then I would be paying the $99 monthly fee every time I went on a trip so I could use it for a month. That's what Spinner EV does. Spinner EV, if they go on a trip, they pay the $99 for the month. I think the current price is $8,000 to purchase it. I did a video in 2023. At that time, it was $15,000. Wow. It's very satisfying to know I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to rent it. This car will have it until it goes to the junkyard. The FSD, full self-driving FSD, purchase stays with the car, not the account. However, every once in a while, Tesla will run a special where if you buy a new car, they'll let you transfer the FSD from your trade-in to your new car. From what I understand, Elon Musk does not like that. He don't like allowing that, so that particular special is rare. I've got a question for you. Would you feel safe using FSD with these concrete barriers this close to the car? My wife would be very nervous. It didn't matter if the computer was driving next to them, if I was driving next to them, or if she was. She gets very nervous around these concrete barriers. Okay, I need to make this car get over. I've noticed sometimes it likes to camp out in the left-hand lane. Then other times it stays in the right as much as it can. I don't know why. Sometimes it stays where it should, and sometimes it camps out in the left lane, which is illegal. I don't know. All I have to do, though, is hit the turn signal stalk, and it'll go to whatever lane I indicate. What really makes Pam nervous is when concrete barriers are on every edge. What really makes Pam nervous is when concrete barriers are on both sides of the lane, at the very edge. You know, you're driving down the lane and right at the edge where the shoulders should be is concrete barriers both sides. Oh my gosh, she freaking hates that. And when you're behind an 18-wheeler and you see them in that situation, it looks as though the trailer is just a few inches from colliding with the barrier on both sides. It looks kind of scary. But when I drove a truck, I found sometimes it was easier to keep an 18-wheeler straighter than a 4-wheeler or 4-wheel car. I never found it bothersome once I got a few miles under my belt. Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't near as scary inside the cab as it is looking behind it. I hope getting out of here is not going to be a problem. Somebody was a moron. I had a wreck. 98% chance someone was a moron. Anyway, David's Burgers. My son absolutely loves this place. I'm gonna stop here and have a meal. I don't even know what town I'm in. No idea. About 80 miles from home. This is pretty neat. They bring you French fries hot and fresh just to keep you just to whet your appetite until your burger and other fries get out here. Woo, that's too hot to hold. Oh my gosh. That was delicious. Oh, that's good. Look at here. $10.42 for the burger and a drink. They want me to pay an extra 50 cents for a larger drink. I don't think so. But looks pretty neat in here. I didn't know they had one of these so close to us. I thought the closest one was Little Rock. People love it. Let's see if it's good. Not only do they give away free French fries, they brought this dessert around for everybody. Not sure what it is. I guess some type of ice cream. Let me see here. Yep, it's ice cream. Tastes like ice cream. It's good, especially for free. Okay, David's Burgers. Searcy, Arkansas. If you're traveling toward Little Rock from northeast Arkansas, this is, I don't even know what highway this is. Or what interstate. I don't know. But anyway, they were so friendly. Everybody's smiling and thanking you for being there. They offered to get me tea twice. My cup never got more than half empty. And because I've given up sugary drinks mostly, I got a sweet tea today. I didn't bring it with me. I wanted to, but like I said, I've given up sugary drinks mostly. So I didn't need it. I've got water right here, which isn't nearly as good. And I'm telling you, in the South, Sweet tea, man, this is like the national drink of the South.
Sweet tea! It's like water, but it's better because it's sugary!
It is so, you Yankees have no idea what you're missing out on. Of course, it's not good for you, so probably better for y'all. Don't try sweet tea if you're a Yankee. Actually, you probably wouldn't like it. But, and I'm not talking about, you go to some restaurants and get sweet tea, it winds up being what I call Yankee sweet. It's not Southern sweet. I mean, to make a quart, you need at least a cup of sugar. For a quart, man, they put so much sugar in it sometimes. Yeah, it's not good for you. But anyway, sweet tea is so good. I gave up soft drinks pretty easy. Sweet tea was a lot harder to give up. But I did, mostly. Half a mile till our turnoff that goes to Jonesboro. I think if you keep going, it goes to St. Louis. Even though it's not how we go to St. Louis, of course. But, okay, Tesla, slow down. It doesn't slow down near as fast as I would in situations like that. I would slow down a lot quicker. Didn't worry me, but I would just coast a little bit. Okay, we're just about home. 331.3 miles. It'll be about 331 and a half by the time we get home. And 84.4 kilowatt hours burned. Okay, fine. Paying attention. 254.7 watt hours per mile. Right there. As we're pulling on my street. That is going to be about 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour. Somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe 3.88. Okay, I'd say 90 to 95% of this trip, the car was driving itself in full self-driving. All right, have a good day. Thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all. And I know this video is not the high quality you get at other places because my cameras suck. But again, I'm not spending money on a YouTube channel that doesn't make money. And I know I could invest $1,000, get better equipment, and maybe I would make some money then. But that's in theory. That's theory. And we just don't have enough liquid assets to spend $1,000 on a theory. All right, y'all have a good day. Thanks for watching. Bye.